Hi, in this video I'm going to give you a tour of our cabin, the inside cabin that is, on the Sky Princess, and also share with you our experiences in switching cabins because we were on a back-to-back cruise on the Sky Princess. We are sail away with Bruce and Eileen, a retired couple that loves to cruise. Come with us as we travel the seas and explore new sights and destinations. We had originally booked a 7-night cruise leaving out of Southampton going to Denmark and Norway, and just for the 1 week. But after contemplation and a month or two later, we decided we would really like to stay longer since we're flying all the way over to Europe. So we booked another week on the Sky Princess, this time going to the fjords. Unfortunately, we were not able to get the same cabin. So they booked us in a cabin that was just down the hall. But we really were wondering how all that was going to work. When we came back to the Southampton, will we need to get off the ship and take our luggage off and then recheck it in? We didn't know what the logistics would be, and I had a lot of questions. Stay tuned for this tour, and also I will share at the end of the video all of our tips and information about switching cabins. Hi, we're on the 11th floor of the Sky Princess, and we have cabin B334. We have the Medallion, so all we have to do to open it is turn the handle and go in. They've got the nice large screen TV where you watch your safety video before going to the muster station. What I really like is they have a really big area for putting all your stuff and doing makeup, getting ready for the gala night. It's bigger really than the last 4 different cruise ships we've been on, so I really appreciate that. They have a refrigerator, and we already asked our room steward for ice, and he already put it in there. I really like to have my ice water at night, so that's really great. Something just when you see your room steward, just ask him for anything that you would like. I really like all the storage. Here we have the hair dryer, and leaving out of Southampton and Britishport, we have a kettle for hot water and makings for tea or coffee right there. We also have 3 storage drawers. I'm really appreciating the storage on this ship. There, that was stuck a little bit. And then a nice big full-length mirror. And we have I think a standard probably queen size bed. But this cabin for an interior cabin is a little bit larger than the last 3 ships we've been on. There's more width, there's more room on either side of the bed. And again, there's 2 nice drawers to store things in, and there's USB ports on the lamps, which is really nice. Not all the ships we've been on had that, so we really appreciate that. And it's really a nice decor. I'm really liking this interior cabin. I think one of the reasons why this cabin seems a little bit larger is it's lengthwise facing the hallway instead of being perpendicular. So this space that we have, which is our bedroom space, just seems a lot, and I think is a lot more roomier. But let's go take a look at the interior here, storage. I haven't quite figured out this light. It just seems to come off of its own will. But we do have some really nice space here for hanging up all of my husband's suits and my dresses. Some nice storage space. We have some back here, 3 really nice shelves you can put a lot of stuff on. And the safe, which actually is pretty large for a cruise ship safe. We can definitely put our iPads in there and our phones, and again, some nice shelves. The bathroom though, let's take a look. I checked it out earlier, and it's a little bit smaller than some that we've been in. Actually, I think it might be the smallest bathroom. We have a shower. There's a nice shower head. There is a shower curtain. I prefer an actual door, but I'll make do with a shower curtain. They do have body wash in a combination shampoo conditioner. And then we have, of course, the towels. They do have, and I really like this because it's not always available, 3 really nice shelves, so I'll be able to put all of our personal items on there, no problem. And body lotion and a hand wash. That's really nice. And really pretty good space here. So for being a small bathroom, and there's space below. Sometimes that space is covered up, so I think this will do nicely. I'm gonna like this cabin. I give it a thumbs up. A couple of additional things I'd like to mention about the cabin were, in the video I'd said I didn't know what was going on with the light by the closet. Well, it was a motion sensor detected, so it would come on every time we walked back there. Also, the other things, there were motion detector lights underneath both of the nightstands. So when I got up at night, the lights would come on and I could make it easily to the restroom, which I very much appreciated. Another thing in the video, at the beginning of the video, I showed opening up the door with our medallion where I put it up to the sensor. Normally you wouldn't have to do that because as soon as you walked were a couple feet away from your door, the green light would go around on the handle and it would be open. It only wasn't open right away because we had been standing outside of the door for a minute or two. I just love this medallion technology. We got this little armband on Amazon, but because normally the cruise line would provide a lanyard for it, but we wanted to just have it on our wrist instead of around our neck. It's really great technology. As soon as we came up to any of the bars, the bartenders would know who we are, what kind of package we had, and it was great. And also they have the Ocean Now technology, which we didn't actually use it, but they could. You could order and have your drinks or whatever brought to you wherever you were on the ship, and they would find you by this medallion technology. And also, I did lose my husband once or twice, and I could check on the app where he was because he was wearing his medallion. As I mentioned before, we were on back-to-back cruises. The second week, we were in Cabin B334, which was an exact mirror image of the cabin we were on the first week, and it was just down the hall. We had asked our room steward a couple days into the first cruise what would happen with our luggage, and it was a great news. We could leave everything hanging in our closet. We just needed to pack up everything that was on the shelves and all our personal items, and he would move it to our next cabin. That was wonderful news. Then, a couple days ahead of time, we got a letter in our cabin telling us what to do as far as the transfer. And also, they did set up a meetup for everyone who was second week in one of the lounges. And we found out, to our surprise, that there were several hundred people that were doing that, and quite a few that were also changing their cabin. One thing we found out, and one question we had, do we need to get a new medallion, or does the one we have work? And the one we had would work. A medallion actually has a battery in it, which is good for 21 to 30 days. So if you're on a much longer cruise or doing several longer cruises back to back, you might need to go to guest services to get a new battery put in your medallion. But other than that, it is good to go. Another thing that they told us was to treat Southampton just like any other port of call. We had to be out of our cabins the morning that we arrived by 9 a.m. and just back on the ship by the normal on-board time, which was 3:30. They gave us a guest in transit card, and then that was all we need to get off, along with our passport. We just showed this to the gangway security and also the security inside the terminal, and we could just walk right through. The only little caveat to that was we did go out very early to explore Southampton. We actually came back while they were still disembarking, and so we had to wait a little while as some people disembarked before we could walk back on. But we went to our cabin. Our room steward had made up since the room was just down the hall, had made up our new room right away and had moved our luggage, and it was fabulous. So easy. The other thing is that most of the restaurants were open. There was a main dining room that was open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Of course, the buffet was open. There were also several bars open if you wanted to get a drink. If you wanted to stay on the ship, you could go to the spa. It's just treated almost like another ship day. A couple other things that they mentioned in the letter was, do you have to settle your shipboard account when you get into Southampton? And no, you don't. But just if you want to, you could just have it roll over to the next week. So you wouldn't even have to take care of that on the first week. Also, that you don't have to go to your muster station or do the safety video a second time, because it's the law that you only have to do it once every 30 days, and you need to do it on your initial port of embarkation, which would have been our first time leaving from Southampton. So if you're on a much longer cruise, you wouldn't need to re-up it every 30 days. But they do highly recommend that you continue and redo just to refresh your mind where your muster station is, which we did do. Well, that's it for all of my tips and information. If you have any questions of anything I haven't covered, please put it in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.